Mancini. I am the co-author of Eating Las Vegas, the 50 Essential Restaurants, and I am here today with one of the chefs featured in that book, the great Hubert Keller. We're going to chat with him a little bit right now. Here at, hey, how are you, Hubert?
How is everything going?
I'm doing well, Hubert. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're here in the brand new Fleur by Hubert Keller, and this is, you know, it's funny, when we were putting the book together, we wanted to include Fleur de Lis. We had you down in the book, your old restaurant, Fleur de Lis, and then we learned that you were closing down Fleur de Lis and you were opening up Fleur by Hubert Keller.
That's correct.
So we don't have that in the book. Hopefully next year we're going to have a little meeting. But talk to me a little bit about what you did to change the restaurant and what the concept is here behind Fleur.
Yeah, what the concept is behind Fleur is it's something actually came after experimenting a little bit about 2 years ago when we added a patio outside, very small patio, 6 tables, and we really were serving some kind of elaborated food, bar food, with a really cool little menu there, and we could see how really popular that little patio terrace became, right, to the point that people want to have the same menu in the lounge inside, so we started serving in the lounge, and then it became so popular that they even ask us, customers even ask us if we would like to serve it, if they can have the same menu in the dining room. Of course, the dining room was kind of a different, right? But the small plates were really ideas from the chef's menu, like from a tasting menu. So there were small, interesting little plates, lots of flavors, really well prepared. And when we saw the draw of that, the idea really popped up on saying, how about if actually would basically open up that restaurant to make a larger terrace, a larger patio, right? So I brought it up to Mandalay Bay to see what their thought was, if they think it's a good idea or not. And we all agreed to the point where we said, let's actually make Fleur de Lis even bigger. So we created 45 seats outside with a lounge area and a dining outside, and then created a nice bar, which is a central bar, which much more seatings, right? And I must say, so far since we opened up, and it's now a month ago, it's extremely busy, extremely welcome, and it's basically now a place where you socialize, you come in, you have drinks, you come with friends, and the idea, the menu also, of course, once we could see that he was really becoming interesting and successful with Stephen Wolf, which is my chef from Fleur de Lis before. Of course, he's here with me at Fleur by Hubert Keller also. So about a year ago, we didn't just jump into the concept, right? About a year ago, we really started on working on a real menu. And the idea was not to call it tapas, because I think in people's mind and it becomes Spanish, or we have lots of Spanish ideas on it, which is really not the case. I think we were really thinking wider open, which is basically cuisine around the world, based on cities or countries that I used to live, places that I traveled, and that was basically that influence. And the influence we did is, let's say, if we, for example, having a noodle dish, a Thai noodle dish, we're not basically claiming that we have the best Thai noodle dish in a sense of authenticity. I think we're taking the flavors, the presentation, and then we give them our own little twist. So it's kind of a fun, entertaining menu that really takes you on a journey.
Now, you are a pioneer kind of in making food more approachable. The original Fleur de Lis in San Francisco was one of the first fine French restaurants to print its menu exclusively in English. You took the waiters out of tuxedos. You put women in the dining room serving people. All of this making it much more approachable. And then you kind of invented, and we're going to go up there a little later, the gourmet hamburger craze. So you seem to really have dedicated a large portion of your career to making food more approachable to people. What is it, what's the public looking for right now that you tried to provide them with here?
I think what the public is looking for, the other day I got a question asked on saying, so the new Fleur by Hubert Keller, is that obviously it sounds like it's a fun place, you had lots of fun to create that menu. It's all about fun or entertainment, or how about foodies, about gourmets? Is Fleur de Lis for the gourmets also? And my really answer is absolutely yes. I think what we are offering here is really to the clientele. If you're coming here, for example, and you want to have a good time with a couple of friends and being like entertaining or socializing, I think it's fun to actually have like a feast on the table. You're sharing little plates, you have an interaction. That's great. Let's say if you are a foodie or gourmet and you come in with your wife or with 2 other friends, I think we really can take you on the same journey, right? Because I think the dishes which are executed, the real thing behind is, if I go from Fleur de Lis to Burger Bar to Fleur, I think we're always playing the card of quality. great ingredients, best pairings, and consistency, right? And I think that was a success so far from all my restaurants, and I think that's what you will find at Fleur.
Okay, a lot's been said recently about speculation. Is fine dining dead? Is formal French dining dead? What do you think? Is it over? I mean, you're being held up as an example. The recent closing of Alex. The move by Julian Serrano to do tapas, even though he still maintains a fine dining restaurant. Do you think that formal French dining is dying in America right now?
No, I don't think it's dying really. I would say, in that sense, probably Las Vegas is more a place where you probably coming here, you're going out, you want to be entertained, you want to have some fun. Sometimes you don't want to dine way too long, right? Because either you want to go back to the table and gambling, or you want to see a show or something. So I think, and then the climate here also, I think, is appropriate when it comes to dress codes, because very often when it's an elegant restaurant, it's not only French, I would say, as long as it's an upscale, white tablecloth, expensive restaurant, very often it's kind of a dress code. And so I think we're battling a little bit between what people want, between the dress code, the intimidation a little bit, and I think things is changing. I would say like everything else changes, right? Fleur de Lis in San Francisco is definitely extremely busy. I think San Francisco is probably more conservative, right? There is always going to be a room for that kind of a restaurant, but I must say altogether, when we look at the picture of the last 10 years, I think things are changing. The clientele is changing. I think part of the entertainment becomes definitely more on going to a restaurant and being entertained, in a sense of not just having the white tablecloth, being very restricted, eating what the chef says and the way the chef tells you how to eat it, and the sommelier tells you how to drink and when to drink it. I think it's a little bit more supple, and I think definitely the way for a younger clientele, I think, which is in their 30s, 35, I think removing tablecloth, not having that intimidation, really brings them in. At the same time, I think when it comes to food, being surprised, discovering new dishes, absolutely yes. I think that same clientele is not afraid on spending the money. I think very often they do have the money too also to spend it, but in a little bit more casual way. I think that's what the clientele, the younger clientele, is looking for. The best example that I can give is probably several years ago, you would write on your menu, do not use cell phones in my restaurant, or cell phones are not prohibited in here. Imagine in just a couple of years, which menu still says that? It doesn't exist anymore. If you tell the customer you cannot pull out your cell phone, they would leave. They would leave the restaurant, right? So that tells you how things is changing.
Right. Okay, well, I want to take you up and just show people a little bit of Burger Bar, which is,
Sure.
of course, a restaurant that did make the 50 Essential Restaurants in Eating Las Vegas, and we're proud to have you in there. So we'll just go up there and take a quick look,
Absolutely.
and then I'll let you get back to work, because I know you're busy cooking.
Let's do it. Absolutely.
Thanks.